Joe Biden's not really a Democrat anymore. He's a progressive. So the Republicans have got to attack that and put forth better policies, particularly problem solving, in order to win in 24. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. All right. So let's start with the most important issue, the economy. So unemployment is low. It was low under Trump. It's low under Biden. That's a good thing, obviously. Okay. We want people to work. We want them to climb that ladder of success. Labor Day is coming up. That'll be my final thought. But work is what makes America go. Calvin Coolidge once said the business of America is business. He was wrong. The business of America is work. There would be no business if not for the workers. So unemployment, fine. Spending wildly out of control. Since Biden took office a little more than 2.5 years ago, $17 trillion has been spent by the federal government, and there's no restraint in sight. You can't sustain that, all right? Now, most Americans don't care because it doesn't affect them directly. Oh, so what? They're spending money in Washington and the Treasury prints money. Well, down the road, something really bad is going to happen. I don't know what it is. I do know that you just can't continue to do this wild spending. Now, under Trump, a big spending guy, first 2.5 years, he spent $10 trillion, as opposed to Biden, $17 trillion. And as we went over last night, Biden is spending the money, and the Democratic Party wants this to buy votes, to give voters stuff so they vote for the Democrats, because they know the Republicans will not do this much longer. They did it under Trump. Trump said he had to rebuild the military, and he had COVID, all of that. But even so, $7 trillion more in spending under Biden in the same period of time. Now, the most important part of the economy is what you spend. So under Biden, food is up across the board 20%, right? And gas is up 60%. Okay, we're taking these figures from the government's own statistics. Gas up, food up 20, gas up 60. That just drains, takes right out of your wallet. Okay, so then we go to real wages. Because of that inflation, higher prices for things that you have to have, real wages are down 5% under Biden. They'll never tell you that. The Democrats will never, and the press won't report it. Okay, but that's the truth. The average American worker has lost $5,000 in spending power under Biden. Under Trump, 8.7% increase in real wages. Now, you didn't know that because Trump never says it. He's too busy insulting people. But 8.7%. You had that much more money to spend. So there's no comparison. And that's number one for the Republican Party. Get those stats out. Drill them home. Because that's where Americans live. All right? Day-to-day spending. So when you have a tremendous advantage on the economic front, you've got to pound it home. The press is never going to report it. We have gone over this a million times. The press is corrupt. Republicans can't count on it to buy their own ads in key states. That could go either way. Second, culture. We all know the woke cancel culture and extremism in this country is driven by the Democratic Party. Everybody knows that. All right, all you have to do is go to Florida, where DeSantis has done a very good job countering the woke Democrats. All right, he's really put a hurt on them. That's his strongest suit in his presidential campaign. DeSantis recognized it early and passed a number of laws to stop this extremism in the culture. I'm going to give you two examples. The first one is this notion embraced by the Democratic Party that there should be no boundaries at all in gender.
I think for a lot of young trans people across the country, the trans community in general, but particularly for young people, this is they feel like they are being told they don't belong, that they're not worthy of the same rights and dignity as everybody else. And honestly, it's making them really lose faith in government, because the idea that government would come along and tell people that in schools we're going to examine you and your reproductive anatomy in order to determine whether or not you're a female is just insane.
What's insane is the woman's lying, because the schools only do that in competitive sports, because any sane person knows that a biological male is generally stronger than a biological female. And if the male says he's a woman now and competes with women, they're going to dominate. Everybody knows that. This had nothing to do with the government. This has to do with the Democratic Party trying to disassemble biological gender. Okay? Because they want to disassemble every tradition in America, including your birth certificate. They want to alter it. Free fire zone. Anybody can do whatever they want, including commit as many crimes as they want. The other thing where the Republicans have got to get this in the forefront is the anti-police posture of the Democratic Party. Go.
And when it comes to funds, it's not always just about the number of officers in the street. It's about these police precincts that have tanks, that have military weaponry, and frankly have a degree of material resources and warlike weaponry that people ask, why does a local police precinct have this in the first place?
Okay, so the woman's bordering on incoherent, and she is a star in the Democratic Party. But the general thread in the Democratic precincts is the police are bad. And you go to any town run by Democrats and you see that. Ask any cop in Chicago or San Francisco or LA or New York City or Baltimore or St. Louis or Philadelphia. Ask any police officer there. Do you feel supported by your Democratic politicians? Come on. That's got to be in the forefront of any Republican campaign. Now, the folks who are behind the curve, not you guys. I mean, I know I say nice things about BillO'Reilly.com viewers and No Spin News viewers, but you deserve it. You're ahead, because I'm ahead. But most of our compatriots are way, way behind the cycle. They don't really understand what the economy and this wild spending, how bad it is. They don't understand how bad the culture is, particularly if they don't live in crazy cities like San Francisco. But once the word gets out, once they see with their own eyes that Dylan Mulvaney, whatever her name is, all right, pushing Bud Light, they rebel. And so Bud Light is dead. Disney is so bad, lowest stock price in decades, and now Disney's going to try to sell itself, okay? Because it's not coming back. The image is so bad. Now, DeSantis had something to do with that. And then Target and other stores, which play into this madness, all right, the consumer, when the consumer finally wakes up, I'm not buying, not going there. That's what the Republican Party has to do. They have to wake up the people who are far behind because they cast ballots. Okay, next one is border immigration law. So I don't know what else to say about this. I'll repeat it for the, 100th time? Trump's Remain in Mexico policy cut down illegal migration into this country by about 80%, 80%. Day Biden took office, he knocked out Remain in Mexico, signed an executive order that anyone in the world who wanted to petition for asylum in this country could do so, and most could come here. That's a violation of our immigration law. Biden didn't care. And so we're flooded now with migrants. Flooded. And the Democrat cities are taking it the worst. Roll the tape.
This is not a sign of progress. This is a sign of a crisis, greatest, I believe, humanitarian crisis this city has ever witnessed. We're going to do the duality of calling for rightfully the resources for the city. Even something simple as calling a state of emergency. If the president does that, it allows us to get resources.
Well, he's never going to do that because it's his fault, Biden's fault, single-handedly. Now, Adams, the mayor of New York City, is an enabler. He's a big sanctuary city guy. So the Republicans take all of these people that are now complaining about the out-of-control migrant situation, string them together in an ad, and then show the masses amounts of people at the border coming on in here. Again, Americans who don't live at the border, they don't pay attention to the news cycle. They get it, but they're way behind on this. So, and then the drugs I'm going to deal with in the homeless thing. Along with the migrants comes a flood of narcotics. Does Biden care about that? No. And I'll remind you that the Vice President, Kamala Harris, was put in charge of the border. Find the root causes. Have we heard from her? No. Has she gone down there? No. It's such a joke, but it's not funny. So now I've given you three big ones. The economy, okay, the border, and the culture. Just those three alone should assure a Republican landslide in 24. But because the Republican Party is in such disarray, that isn't assured. The chairman of the Fed is promising more pain ahead. Last year, stocks dropped a whopping 20%. 2023 could be worse. You are right to be worried. So call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Since I've been a client and spokesperson, the price of gold has appreciated more than 35%. So please call today and they'll have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. They have thousands of satisfied customers and have the highest rating in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Please tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $5,000 of free silver on your first order. Please call 866-501-5201. That's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.